Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. My thought for you this week that I've been sort of messing with is the lovely realization that yoga works if you do it. Even if you don't want it to work, it still works, but only if you do it. Right? And adding on to that, I've been remembering that, such a huge part of what goes on in a yogic process, or what it said goes on as we practice more and more and more, or regularly we practice, is that at some point we come to this feeling where we're no longer doing something, and instead we are feeling ourselves just actually becoming the things that we were trying to do in the first place. That makes sense. So when we start out, we're trying to access these much deeper places of compassion or patience or love or even flexibility, right? We're trying to do something. We're trying to create something, go somewhere, get something done. And at some point, it said that what happens is that we start to actually merge with whatever the goal is or whatever the thing that we're trying to do. And at that point, it's no longer like we're trying to do it, but it actually feels like it's something that is innate in us. And the beautiful realization in that is that that has been true from the very beginning, is that whatever it is that you're seeking is already in you. Whatever it is that you're looking to unlock, unfold, build, to achieve, whatever it is, it's already in you. Otherwise, there'd be no unfolding. There'd be no growth towards it. So this is one of those things that we don't always see it in the beginning when we start practicing yoga, is that whatever it is that you think that you're trying to get to is already in you. And just having that thought in the back of your mind, or having that awareness in the back of your mind somewhere, that wherever you are trying to get to is you already have it. It's already here, right? And that's why we actually continue to do the work, if you want to call it the work of yoga, is we continue to do it so that we can feel more and more and more that these things that we're looking for are already innate to us, right? And if it feels like it's far away, still, that's all right. But it is, the seeds of it are innate to you. Otherwise, it would be impossible for you to achieve it in the first place. And that's what the yogis say, is that the only things that you can experience are what you already have experienced, which is everything, right? That's the trick, that, universal consciousness has experienced everything. But to be aware that what you're seeking is already innate to you. So the more you find it in yourself, the more it becomes a feeling of innateness in the way that you live your life. And then it's no longer a practice that you do, but it's something that you are. The realization is that your practice, what you're practicing for, is something that you already are, right? So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. But number one takeaway is that yoga works when you do it, right? If you don't do it, doesn't matter, right? Whatever the practice is, doesn't matter if you don't do it. So with the eyes closed, just let yourself start to breathe a little bit deeper down into the base of your belly. When we say you have to do the practice, it means you don't just have to mechanically do it, but you have to actually feel yourself being part of the practice. That's how we get that sense of, oh, what I'm looking for is already innate in me. I'm not bringing it in, but I'm finding it buried underneath all of my other strangeness. So feel the breath as it moves down the spine and moves up the spine. Rise and the fall, and somewhere between that rise and fall, there is a very neutral place where you could say that everything is always rising and everything is always falling. But it's caught right in the middle where you're not looking at one piece and not the other. Just see if you can catch that between the inhale and the exhale. The more you can catch yourself in that space, the more you start to feel that there is that quality of equanimity. There is that quality of quietness that exists in you. It's not somewhere outside. You already have it. The more you interact with it, the more it feels innate to you. When there's no more question in your mind that it is innate to you, then you can absorb yourself in that stillness. And the absorption is what we call samadhi. But just start with catching that space between the inhale and the exhale. And then keep catching this as you go through your practice, as you go through your movement, as you go through your day. See how many times you can catch yourself in that space between the inhale and the exhale. Keep the awareness on that space. Allow the attention to come up to the space between your eyebrows, third eye point. Bring the hands together at the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release the hands, please. Come forward onto hands and knees. And do a little cat and cow. Just to wake up. The hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Start to inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, round, lengthen the back of your spine. The inhale lengthens the front of your spine. Exhale, round into the back. Good. In the Isha Upanishad, I believe it is where we have the general translation that says that you, me, all of us, everything has been created perfect, created from perfection. And that no matter how much you try to separate that, divide it, cut it into pieces, destroy it, whatever you try to do to it, is you cannot change it. That you can cut it into a million pieces and it's still perfect. You can do this to it and it's still perfect. You can do that to it and it's still perfect. It is inescapably perfect, inescapably complete. So if we have this reminder in the back of our senses, the back of our awareness, then it gives us a little bit of maybe relief to just do what we do so that we can keep seeing that perfection from all angles. Because that's all the practice really is how many different angles can I see this from, to where I no longer see it distorted. I see it just as it is. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Somewhere between arched and curled. So I do want your low ribs drawing in, almost like you're trying to come into that cat position. I do want you pushing into your hands so it feels like your armpits pull up, like you're about to go into a plank pose. I do want the back of your throat to stay lifted. Good. I want the tops of your thighs to move slightly back. Good. And then I want you to extend your right leg back behind you, lift it up in line with that hip. Good. And then walk your left arm forward, take your balance, keep pressing into that right hand. So again, you don't drop your weight into that hand, but you pull through the whole length of that arm. Good. Deep breath in. Good. Press out through that heel. Beautiful. And then release, please. Try the second side. So again, without dropping your weight towards the floor, keep the low rib cage in and up. Take your left leg back behind you. Lift it in line with the hip. Take the right arm forward. Good. And again, try and find the full length from fingertips to toes. Press out through your heel. Good. Reach through your armpit. Nice. Good work. Beautiful. And then release and try the first side again. So the right leg comes back, left arm forward. Good. And again, reaching through your spine. So that low rib cage draws up. It's going to have a tendency to keep dropping. So keep drawing it up. Get full in the back of your rib cage. Good. And then extend, really pull tops of thighs and armpit away from each other. Beautiful. Bend that right knee, kick your heel and reach back for the foot or the ankle if you'd like, or take that left hand behind your head if reaching for the foot doesn't feel like a good option today. Good. Try and keep your right hip pushing as wide to the right as you can. Left hip draws in. Good. One more breath, chest up. Nice. And then extend all the way back out, please. Arm and leg. Good. And then release back to hands and knees and come to the second side. One more time. Left leg comes back behind you. Lift it up in line with your hip. Take the right arm forward. Good. Again, drawing your low rib cage in and up. So you're not dropping through the ribs and you're not collapsing into your lower spine. So keep your low belly drawn up as well. So you're trying to pull everything up away from the floor. Good. Extending long. Nice. And then bend the left knee, kick your heel and reach back for the foot or the ankle if you'd like. Or again, you can bring that hand behind your head instead if reaching for the foot is not a good option. Nice. Chest up. Good. Try not to let that right hip swing out to the right. Keep it drawn in as much as you can. Awesome. Chest up. Last breath. Wide, wide chest. Nice, Harriet. And then slowly release, please. Good. Come back to hands and knees. Good. Take your knees wide, big toes together to touch. Drop your hips back to your heels. Child's pose. Good. And pressing into your shins. Give a little squeeze of your inner knees. Round into your low belly and really drop the hips towards your heels. So again, like you're trying to lengthen your spine. Good. And you can either keep your knees wide here or bring them a little bit closer together. Reach your hands back to your lower spine. Interlace your fingers at the lower spine. Good. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Nice. Squeeze those upper arms towards each other, then start to roll up onto the crown of your head. Lift your hips and stretch those arms up towards the ceiling any amount. So lift the hands up off of the low back. Good. Keep hugging the upper arms. Good. Don't let your elbows lock backwards. Nice. Beautiful. So it's little weight on the top of the head, not a lot. Keep rounding through your back. Good. And then release the hips back down, release the hands back down, come to hands and knees and find your way into downward facing dog. Beautiful. So when we practice, we have to not just do mechanically whatever the thing is, but to really do it or for it to really work is we have to have the sensation of being willing to have something shift, being willing to have something change. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. So there's a sense of, as we always say, letting go of the way things are in our perception so that we can feel the way things actually are behind that. Step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Inhale both arms up to the sky, high lunge. Nice. Right hand holds your left wrist. Lean to your right, please. So leaning towards that front leg. Good. And as you do, try not to let your ribs spin open. So that right rib cage is moving back, left rib cage is spinning slightly forward, and then you're leaning to the right. Nice. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Release the hands, reach behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine. Good. Shrug your shoulders up, hug those upper arms again, draw your ribs in. Good. Send your right knee forward over the ankle just a little bit more and then bow inside that front thigh. As your chest comes forward, feel your back thigh lift just a little higher. Good. And then stretching the arms up and over any amount. Again, the idea there is to feel that drawing together of the shoulder blades, but not just a pinching squeeze, but a whole hugging of the upper back. Nice, Diane. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. As you lean onto that left hand, let your right knee drop open if you'd like. So come onto the baby toe of that right foot. Let the knee go wide. And again, if that doesn't feel like a good option, just stay where you are. Keep your left hip pushing nice and wide as well. Good. Nice, you guys. And then take that foot back to flat, please. Release the hand back to the floor. Beautiful. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath your hands if you need. Good. Rounding into your low belly for a moment so that you scoop everything up off of the tops of your thighs. So hip points lift up, low belly lifts up, and then really send that left hip spinning slightly forward and draw the top of that right thigh wide. Good. Then you can re-extend your spine. So finding the length through your side waist, not just dropping the belly onto the thigh, but extending. Good. And like you're moving the ribs away from the pelvis. Nice, you guys. Good. Practice in a way where you cannot escape your perfection, that whatever you are finding right here in this practice, in this moment, is the root of what you're seeking. Again, there might be a lot of other things jumbled up in it. That's why we keep allowing the mind to just be quiet, right? Not actively thinking, not that your mind will be quiet, but by not actively thinking, not actively generating thoughts. allowing sensation to move through, we start to perceive, just like you can catch yourself between inhale and exhale, we start to perceive that there's that space of quiet, even underneath the chaos of the mind. Good. Nice, you guys. Bend that right knee, please. Step your left foot back just a little bit further and out to the left. Drop the heel to 45 degrees. So change the angle of the foot. Warrior one, right knee is over the right ankle. Take the arms up to the sky. Good. And then take your arms out wide, cactus arms, palms facing forward. Twist towards that front leg. So twist towards the right. Keep your elbows just as wide. And as you're twisting, again, it's not going to be a super dramatic twist because it's warrior one. Your back heel stays on the floor. Keep that inner left thigh lifting up and back. Good. And then send that right knee forward over the ankle again. So you keep yourself in the deepness of that lunge. Good. And then widen your elbows. That's it. Nice, Diane. Good, Mark. Awesome, you guys. Come back to center, please. Stretch the arms all the way up to the sky. Deep breath in, chest up. Take a little baby back bend. Good. Again, keeping that front knee over the front ankle. So keep letting the lunge go deep. Beautiful. And then all the way up, release the hands down to the floor, please. Good. Spin that back heel back up. So a nice long lunge. Both hands inside the front foot. Good. Walk straight ahead, please, up onto your fingertips. No, it's a lot on one leg. Hug that right hip back and in towards the center. Good. Cat cow your spine just a little bit here. Inhaling, lift and lengthen. Exhale, curl and round. Good. Nice. Beautiful. And then relax that, please. Come on down to your forearms if you'd like, or just stay where you are for another breath or two. Again, we're not staying for long. I just want you to drop where you are. If the back knee needs to come to the floor, let it come to the floor. Good. And feel yourself getting wide through the upper chest, wide through the upper back. Been in a bit of a heart chakra mode, as being, again, the energetic place, it said, within the chakra system, where you have the balance between the energy that's moving up and the energy that's moving down. Call the energy of liberation that goes up, liberation and freedom, and embodiment, which flows down. And often paired with that is the word that means enjoyment. So embodiment equals enjoyment. But it's where you have that combination of the energy that's reaching for the divine and the divine that's reaching into this human form. We call that the perfection. And so whatever it is that you're looking for, it cannot be found anywhere except in you. Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Lift that back knee, please. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Rise up into cobra or locust pose. If cobra feels like it's a little bit too much work today, then a little bit of locust pose with the arms stretched back. You can lift the legs and the arms for that one. Good. And then exhale, please. Come back to child's pose. So release your back bend, come back to hands and knees, and then drop the hips back to your heels. Child's pose. Good. Again, finding yourself breathing the whole length of your back. So not just dropping into child's pose and feeling like you're not necessarily doing a pose. Really feel that you are still trying to draw the hips back towards the heels. That you're still trying to allow that back of the chest, back of the shoulders to expand. Good. We've been saying in that heart chakra image is that there are these interlocking triangles that represent those energies that are moving up and the energies that are moving down. And we often focus on just that, the points that are pointing straight up and the ones that are pointing straight down, but they're triangles, right? They're not arrows. So in that shape is there's 4 other points that are pointing in other directions. The symbology is that it goes in all directions. So where is the important one? Well, all of them are important. Where is the important place in you in your practice? Well, all of you is important. So that all inclusiveness is what we are really doing. That's really what we're practicing. If we're practicing anything while we do yoga, it just happens to be that in the background while we're doing downward facing dog or a breathing technique. Come back up onto hands and knees, please. Downward facing dog. Good. Take the left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. And reaching out through that heel, trying to feel that as you lift that leg, you're actually pulling the muscles of your back longer. You're actually finding that connection from your left wrist all the way out through your left heel. Good. And then step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. Left hand holds right wrist and then lean to your left. So again, leaning towards the front leg. Watch that your knee does not start to fall in when you do that. It continues to push just a little bit wide towards the baby toe, and your rib cage doesn't spin open. So right rib cage spins forward, left rib cage draws back. That's it. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Release the hands, take the hands back behind you. Good save, Diane. Interlace your fingers at the low back. Good. Shoulders go nice and high towards your ears. Squeeze those outer armpits and then begin to bow forward, taking the arms up and over any amount, checking that your left knee is right over top of your left ankle. So you let yourself go deeper into the lunge. Good. And as you go deeper into the lunge and you scoop into your low belly, good. Then you actually get a little bit more stretch on the lower spine. Nice. Push that right hip wider, left hip draws in. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Right hand plants, left arm reaches to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Again, you can't put all of your weight on that front foot, so move your hips a little bit more to the right. And then drop onto the baby toe of that left foot if you would like to. Let the knee go wide. And again, if that option doesn't feel like a good idea, keep the foot flat. Good. One more deep breath, chest open, knee wide, thigh wide. Awesome. Take that foot back to flat, please. Release that hand down to the floor. Good. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. Check out your feet are not right in line with each other. So there's a little space between them, right and left. Good. And again, round into your low back just for a moment so you can reset the pelvic bone. So as you round into your back, pull the belly up off of the thighs. Good. Send your outer right hip, that's your back hip, coming forward. Yep. It's going to give you space for the left inner thigh, the left outer hip to go wide. And then you can re-extend your spine, again, lengthening from your armpit to your hip to your armpit. Good. Nice, you guys. And actually feel the sensation that's here. That includes the entirety of the sensation, not just the part that feels uncomfortable, but the part that feels however it feels. Maybe it's not uncomfortable. Maybe it's exhilarating. Maybe it's exhausted. It can be all of those things. Right? To learn to have our perception aware and awake in all directions. That's the step towards being really absorbed. And that's the samadhi. Our awareness is open in all directions simultaneously, equally. That's the key. We're no longer looking in just one direction, but we're seeing what we normally don't see. And that's when it said the yogis say, you see things as they are. You say, well, how could I see it any different? Your mind sees it as it wants to perceive it. Misses a lot because it's not looking at it. One more breath. Good. And then bend that left knee again, please. Slide your right leg back just a little further, step it a little wider to the right, and take your heel to a 45-degree angle. So turn the toes out slightly. Bend your left knee, take the arms up alongside your ears, warrior one. Good. Again, you're sending that outer right hip spinning forward, top of your left thigh, left hip moves back. Good. And then bend your elbows out wide, cactus arm. So elbows at 90 degrees, and then twist to your left, twisting towards the front leg. Good. And again, it's not going to be a dramatic twist, but you want to feel that you are pulling through that whole outer edge of your right side. So from the outer edge of your heel, all the way up the thigh, all the way into the hip, all the way into the ribs, the twist is happening through all of that. Good. And then come back to center, arms come straight up alongside your ears, lift your chest, take it into a little baby back bend. So again, your armpits go back faster than your head. Good. So try to keep your ears in line with your arms. If you want your ears to go back, your arms have to go back. That's it. Really nice area. Good, Diane. Nice, Mark. Come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Release the hands to the floor. Spin your back heel up. And then again, both hands come inside the front foot. Walk your fingertips straight ahead, so towards that lizard pose position, so up on your fingertips. And then cat-cow your spine just a little bit, inhaling, lifting to lengthen, exhaling, staying long, but rounding. Good. Nice, you guys. Steady legs, so the back thigh is not collapsing to the floor. Not yet. Nice. Good. Finding all of the pieces of your spine as much as you can. And then slowly release that movement, please. Drop down to your forearms if you'd like. Drop the back knee to the floor if that feels like a better resting place. Let yourself drop and widen through your chest, widen through the upper back. Good. Blocks underneath the elbows. Great idea if that softening is hard to find. Good. The actual practice, whatever actual thing that you are doing, specific thing that you're doing, is that what's in the background of that is this practice or this work of finding your awareness being very universal. You start to see that there is a whole nother layer to what's happening than what your mind is focused on. And then when we can do that, I say that's when we easily or more easily enter those states of meditation. We more easily enter those states that we thought we had to struggle so hard to get to and maintain. And it turns out that all along, it was just you. All along, it was there. So we want to catch those little glimpses in ourselves, those little quiet moments, even when our mind is spinning, as we can still feel that there's somewhere that is quiet. Somewhere that is still. And when we no longer feel that we're separate from that stillness, then we can become absorbed in it. Walk yourself all the way back up. Nice. Lift that back knee, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need, all the way down to your belly. Rise up into cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Really nice. And then exhale, please, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Beautiful. Good. Take your right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Again, reaching out through that heel. So full length on the side body from your armpit to your hip, even beyond your hip to your heel. Awesome. And then step the right foot all the way between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop the back knee. Good. Move your left hip back so it's on top of that knee and take your right leg forward to straight. Ardha Chandrasana. Good. So again, try not to sink yourself all the way towards that left hip as you come into this position. Is try and keep a sense that your right hip is pulling wide, your left hip is pulling wide as well. Good. And you're pressing down to that right heel. Walk your fingertips forward towards the ankle any amount. Again, you can have blocks underneath the hands. Good. And find that lift up and back of your tailbone. So it's like you're trying to tilt the front edge of your pelvis forward as you draw your tailbone up and back. Nice. Awesome. You guys start to walk your hands, both hands towards the baby toe edge of that foot. So both hands coming to the outside edge of the leg. And then the option here is to anchor that left forearm against your shin or against the leg, wherever it can reach. And of course, you can still have a block underneath your hand here. And then take your right hand either to your lower back, starting to twist open, taking the right shoulder up, right rib cage open. Or you can take that arm straight up to the sky. So you can take the twist all the way with the arm extended or keep the hand at the lower back. Keep pushing your inner thighs wide. If you let all of your everything turn in the direction that your chest is turning, you're going to unbalance yourself and you're more likely to fall. So again, perception in all directions, even where you're not looking. Good. Slowly release. Come all the way back to center. Nice job. Draw that right heel back and in. Come back to the low lunge. And then lift your back knee up, please. Drop that back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. So set the legs up for warrior two, and then cartwheel your arms up, bringing the shoulders over the hips. Good. Take both arms up to the sky, please, reaching nice and long through the side body, dropping that right thigh a little deeper into the lunge. Nice, Harriet. Good. Left hand holds your right wrist, so back hand holds front hand. Lean to the back of your mat like you're coming into reverse warrior. Good. And as you do, you're still dropping down through the top of that right thigh, right? So that energy is moving in both directions, the rising and the falling. Good. Come all the way back to center, please. Arms out nice and wide. Beautiful. And then release that right hand down to the floor, please. Take your left hand to your left hip. So you're moving into Ardha Chandrasana, so you can reach for a block if you'd like. Slide that right hand forward beyond the toes of the front foot. Step your way up onto that foot. So as you lift your left leg, you already have your hips moving into that alignment. And then lift the left thigh parallel to the floor, turning the ribs open any amount, left arm to the sky, or keep that hand at your hips. Perfect. Awesome, you guys. Keep reaching through the heel. And then optional is to bend the knee, kick your heel, and reach back for the foot or the ankle if you'd like, or again, stay exactly where you are. Good. Keep trying to stack the left hip open more. So you keep lifting through that standing leg, not collapsing down, but pulling up. Really good. Good. Extend all the way back out if you're holding the ankle. Awesome. And then release yourself back to warrior two, please. So as you step back, cartwheel the arms all the way back up, back to warrior two. Nice job. And then take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, turn your ribs forward, but keep your legs exactly as they are. Bow inside that front thigh, stretching the arms up and over any amount. Equal weight on your feet as your chest comes forward. The natural tendency is we put all the weight on the front foot. Pay attention to where you're not looking. Back leg, pull that back thigh up. Good. Nice, you guys. And then like you're really going to bring your head to the floor. Drop. Nice. And then release the hands, please. Good job. Walk both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your left until you come to the center of your mat. Straighten your right leg. Turn the toes parallel so you're in Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. And then reach the right hand to find your left ankle or shin, whatever part of that leg you can comfortably reach. Take the left arm up to the sky, or again, hand to the lower back. If having the arm reaching up feels like it's just a pull on your shoulder, keep the hand at your lower back and really work from your rib cage. Good. Keep both thighs pulling wide. Nice. And then release and switch, please. Coming back to center. And then taking your left hand to your right ankle or shin, left arm to the sky, or again, hand to your lower back. And again, since you're moving towards that right side, is everything, all of your weight, all of your attention is going to tend to go that way. So bring your awareness back to your left thigh. Bring your awareness back to the back of your heart that should be reaching on the opposite diagonal from where your arm is reaching. So pull the head back, throat back. Nice. Awesome. Release the hand. Come all the way back to center, please. Beautiful. Drop the head. Long spine. Good. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Right toes spin forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Good vinyasa if you'd like. Child's pose if you prefer, or stay in dog. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down slow to your belly, rising up cobra, or again, locust pose if cobra is not happening today. And coming back to downward facing dog. Yeah. Awesome. Take the left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Yeah, reaching out through the heel. That's it. And then step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back knee. Good. And then start to move that hip back in space. So your right hip is going to be right on top of your right knee. Left leg comes forward to straight. So you're coming up on that left heel, Ardha Hanumanasana. So the half split. Try and keep your hips in line with each other. So again, when we straighten that leg, it's really easy to pull that hip forward of your supporting leg. So try and draw that hip backwards a little bit more. Good. Try and rotate that outer right hip forward. So again, everything is facing straight ahead. And then you can walk your hands towards the ankle. Good. Again, Susan and Laura, I can't see you, so I assume that you're doing fantastic things. My mind, I see you doing fantastic things. Beautiful, you guys. Even here, if you are feeling the sensation that's here, are you absorbed in it or are you obsessing over it? Like there's a difference. So the obsession is, oh, this one aspect of the experience is really uncomfortable, so I'm going to hyper focus on that. And I forget everything else. So instead, can you keep feeling the wideness all directions, not just your discomfort, but what else is there? Right? The absorption is when the mind is not looking in only one direction, but it's feeling, perceiving all directions as one. Again, that might not feel innate and natural to you, but it is innate to your mind's capabilities. It's the reason we practice. Walk your hands, both hands towards the baby toe edge of that front foot or front leg. Again, you can keep the block underneath the hand if you're using it. And then the option is to anchor your right forearm against your shin. Take the left hand to your low back or to your outer hip. Start to twist open to the left. Keep your inner thighs pushing wide. Keep your tailbone drawing back. Good. And then again, you can stay here with the hand at the hip, or if it feels available, you can stretch that left arm up to the sky. Again, twist might not even be an option today, which is fine. Just keep the hands towards the outer edge of that leg. Feel the stretch on the hip. Good. Slowly release. Really good, Mark. Nice, Harriet. Walk yourself all the way back to center, please. Good. Draw that left heel back and in so you can bend the knee. Lift your back knee up off the floor and drop your right heel. So the baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Set the legs up for warrior two, and then cartwheel the arms up, shoulders stacking over the hips. Nice. Stretch both arms up to the sky. And as you do that, see if you can feel yourself pulling long through your waist. So you're pulling your ribs up off of your pelvis and dropping down through your tail. Good. Widen that front knee just a little bit more. So again, it's rotating towards the middle of the foot. There you go. And then right hand holds left wrist. Lean to the back of your mat. Again, don't change the orientation of that front knee, but let your thigh drop a little bit lower. So you're actually letting yourself pull the spine sideways in both directions. Armpits going to the back of the mat, hip points moving to stay level with the front. Good. Come all the way back up to center, please. Nice job. Good. Reach that left hand out and down towards the floor. Right hand comes to your hip. Moving into Ardha Chandrasana. So reaching that left hand with your block, if you have it, forward in front of your foot. Good. Stack the weight of your hip on your ankle and then float that right leg up to the sky. So you're not flinging yourself into the pose, but you are rising into it. Good. And even here, you should feel like those inner thighs are continuously moving away from each other. That right thigh is continuously trying to lift. Awesome. And then if you're going for that bent knee variation, bend the knee, kick your heel back towards your butt, reach back for the foot or the ankle. Shavasana. Good. Still rotating the shoulders open, so chest open, hips open. Lift that right inner knee. Good. Nice, Mark. Just try and draw that knee back so it's in line with your spine again. You got to open the shoulder more. That's it. There you go. Exactly. Good. Extend all the way back out. Really good, you guys. As you step yourself out of Ardha Chandrasana, come back to warrior two. So drop that right foot, plant the feet, cartwheel the arms all the way back up. Nice. And then take the hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, turn your ribs to face the front of your mat. Good. Again, front knee is over the front ankle. So reset yourself. If your lunge has collapsed on itself, is reset. And then start to bow inside the front thigh. Take the arms up and over any amount. Good. Nice, you guys. Again, feeling your spine getting longer and longer and longer, like your head is dropping to the floor. Good. Keep your left butt cheek drawing in as much as you can so that knee stays pointed at the second or third toe. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Walk both hands to the right, please, until you come to the center of your mat. Straighten both legs. Turn the left toes. Prasarita Padottanasana. Start to feel that your awareness is able to extend in all directions. That's the real practice. So we start to do that outwardly, we start to do that inwardly, so that whatever it is that we usually, right, the only things that we usually see in our mind are the things that we're used to seeing or that we're scared of seeing or that we don't want to see, is that's what we're surrounding ourselves with in our perception. You start to see something different when you let the lens of the mind widen. That's when we say that, we have to practice in order for us to feel results, and practice means letting that lens of the mind widen. So even when we don't want yoga to work, we think we're perfectly happy with what we've surrounded ourselves with, is it still works. We still start to see more than we were, feel more than we were, realize we are more than we thought. Walk yourself all the way back in, please. Walk your hands towards the top of your mat. Left toes turn forward, right heel spins up, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then exhale, release back to your belly, please. And then flip over onto your backs. Nice. Bend your knees. Take your right ankle on top of your left thigh, please. And then lift your left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold that thigh if you'd like. Or again, you always have the option to just let the legs lift on their own and release the arms. Good. Nice, you guys, but continue to have active energy through the legs. So sometimes we just don't feel like holding the legs because it's a little bit of, effort for the shoulders. But make sure that you are still drawing that left thigh, still trying to draw in towards the belly. And your right top thigh is trying to draw wide away from the belly. You're doing both of those things simultaneously. Good. They say in the heart center that there is that place of awareness where nothing has a beginning or an end. The name for the heart chakra literally means unstruck. So it's a sound, they say, or a song that nothing began it. It simply is. And so similarly, as we practice, as we start to become aware of what is beyond the regular thinking of our mind, the regular feelings that we are used to, we start to touch that you can't find the beginning of and you can't find the end of. It's like that space between the inhale and the exhale. Where did it come from? It's just there. Where did that place in you come from? It's always been there. And so we think, that the practice that we talk about meditation is that it is so complicated in all of this aspect and that aspect and this and that and these stages and those stages. And there's a million things you can be doing. What matters is that do you allow yourself to feel your perception in those directions that are not your habit? That's the real practice. It's kind of look in those places in myself and in my life that I never look. And not because I'm looking for something, but I'm just looking. What is there? Deep breath in. As you exhale, reach for the thigh if you haven't already, and then lift your shoulders up off the floor. Squeeze the legs in towards your chest. So really draw everything in deeper. Good. And then slowly release the shoulders back to the floor, please. Keep the ankle crossed, stretch your left leg to straight. So take your left heel up towards the ceiling and then move your hands so that they are above the length of your right ankle. Good. And then again, a deep breath in. As you exhale, again, lift your shoulders, walk your hands up towards that left ankle even a little higher. So the left leg is straight, Mark, and you're reaching don't reach through the legs, reach above where they're crossed. There you go. And as you walk up, again, you're squeezing in. Nice. And then as you release, bring the shoulders back towards the floor, bring the legs back in towards the chest, any amount more. So bring that leg with you. Good. And then go ahead and release, please, bending that knee. Good, drop the left foot to the floor, keep your right ankle stacked, and then drop your feet to your left. So your right foot is gonna come flat to the floor. Good, you're letting your hips rotate to the left, all the way to the left. Good, ankle is still against the knee. And then reach out through that right side. So your right rib cage, you're still trying to find, reaching for the floor. Your right side sacrum, you wanna be dropping towards the floor. So you can start with that angle of your right knee falling in towards your belly just a little bit, so you can really work that right side sacrum down, right side pelvis down. Good. Once you've found that, then you can start to draw that right knee back up towards the ceiling. Creates a little bit more stretch on the outer hip. Good. But if we try to go straight to that stretch and the back is really twisted, then we end up just getting stuck between our thigh and our pelvic bone. So set this pelvic bone first. Then you can mess with the rotation of the thigh. Good. We have to do whatever it is that we have to do to start to widen that lens of our perception, widen the lens of our awareness. And at the same time, knowing that whatever you are doing is simply uncovering what was already inside of you. You're not getting anywhere, you're just finding what was already there. So it's a little ridiculous, right? It's when you're, you've lost your keys and you know that it has to be somewhere in that, amazingly endless bag that is your that is your purse, or it's somewhere in your car, or it's somewhere in your living room. You know it didn't go anywhere. You're just digging and digging and digging. That's what yoga is. You're just digging around. You know that it's there. And then how often is it that we're digging and digging and digging, and then we find out that their keys have been in our hand the whole time? That's like enlightenment, right? You realize that what you've been looking for has been there the whole time. You say, oh, there it is. Bring yourself all the way back up to center, please. Good. Draw that right knee in towards your chest. Squeeze it in. And then place that right foot down to the floor, and then take your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Good. Again, lifting the right shin off of the floor, parallel to the floor. You can reach through to hold the right leg if you'd like, or again, just let the arms rest. But do keep the legs active. So that right thigh is trying to draw in towards the belly, and the top of your left thigh is moving away from the belly. Nice, you guys. The practice works, but I don't think that it is doing what we think it's doing. Whatever we imagine is the process. I think it has very little to do with what we imagine. And that's where, even when we don't want it to work, our mind says that I like things the way that I like them, or that I'm comfortable with the way things are. Still, it will open our awareness. Still, it will move the energies in us. Still, it will uncover whatever is inside of you. And again, if you let it, if it gets uncovered and you still don't look at it, well, it doesn't matter that you uncovered it, right? So we practice, but we also live, and practice becomes life, and life becomes practice. You're never not doing yoga. Take one more deep breath in, and then as you exhale, draw the legs in a little closer. So lift your shoulders up, pull everything in. Again, you can reach for that thigh if you're not already holding it. Good. And then slowly release the shoulders, please. Stretch your right heel straight up towards the sky. So the ankle is still crossed, but now the right leg is straight. Move your hands. So instead of holding from between the legs, reach your hands up above the space where your ankle is crossed, so towards the knee or the shin. Deep breath in. And as you exhale again, lift your shoulders up, curl into your belly, walk your hands up towards your foot any amount. Keep pressing your low back down towards the floor. Shoulders wide. Good. So again, you're really doing the lifting through your abdominals. Good. And then as you exhale, release the shoulders, bring the leg with you any amount. So again, you're folding the legs in towards the waist, folding your legs in towards your belly. Nice. Good. And then release the leg, please. Bend your right knee, plant that right foot on the floor, and then let your legs drop to your right. So again, that left foot is going to start to come to the floor. Ankle is still against the thigh. Good. The right thigh comes all the way open to the floor. And then again, you're reaching through that left side rib cage, left side sacrum, moving towards the floor. So if you need to angle your left knee in towards your belly to allow for that, let that happen. And then once you've kind of settled that length on your back, you can start to open the thigh again, point the knee up towards the ceiling. Good. It might even feel, depending on just what your particular muscle structure stuff is today, it might actually feel like a deeper stretch, better stretch, more effective stretch to have that knee or that thigh angling in towards your belly. And if that's the case, keep it at that angle. Good. Remember, your practice is for you where you are today. And practice is living, living is practice. And that's where we say, again, we become absorbed in what we're doing to the point where we no longer really see it as doing anything. It's just who you are. You no longer see breathing as something that you do, but you feel yourself as breath. You no longer think of meditation as something that has a place and a time, but you can feel your awareness expanding and contracting. And at that point, that's when the yogis say there is nothing to do. Right? This whole time we think that we're just filling up our existence with doing, and they're like, there's nothing to do. When you really feel yourself is all the doing stops. You're still going to do things, but it's no longer going to feel like you are getting somewhere or you're taking something away or that you're creating something by the doing. Finally realize that the perfection is just the perfection, and it's always been the perfection, and it always will be. There's nothing you can do to change it. Start with finding the point between the inhale and the exhale. A little bit of space. You begin to uncover what's there behind your thinking. Come back to center, please. Hug that left knee all the way in towards your chest. You can squeeze the right knee in as well, so both knees come in. Come into happy baby, draw your knees wide, reach for your ankles or your feet, stack the heels on top of the knees. Good. Beautiful, you guys. And then a deep breath in as you exhale, lift your shoulders up off the floor, press your inner elbows wide into your knees, squeeze your knees towards your upper arms. So it's just a curling in. Yeah. And then slowly release, dropping the shoulders, hug the knees in towards the chest. Beautiful. And then if you would like to come into shoulder stand as your inversion, and that's my suggestion. Shoulder stand is not an option. You have a block you want to place underneath your butt and do a supported shoulder stand, legs up to the sky, or just placing a block underneath your sacrum in bridge pose works great as well. Or if you have no block, just legs up to the sky is also an option. Good, but shoulder stand if it is available. Trying to find that same sensation in your shoulder stand as when you had your hands clasped behind your back, that same sort of drawing in of the shoulder blades towards the center of the heart. Good. Nice, Diane, good choice. Good. And even if you are doing the supported variation where you have a block underneath you, you can still work this energy of the arms. You can still have the arms in robot arms like you would set up for bridge. You could still work that pressing down into the arms to feel the strength of the shoulders. Because sometimes we just have to keep creating that muscle memory, or we have to keep creating that structural awareness so that at some point, right, we are just as happy in the pose without the block or the prop support. Or maybe we'll always use the prop support, but at least we're still creating as much strength and understanding in the body as we can. Good. If you are in full shoulder stand and feel pretty good there, keep your right toes up towards the sky. Take your left toes down towards the floor so you split the legs. Good. So keep reaching through that right leg all the way up to the ceiling. Nice job. Good. Then bring the left leg all the way back up, straight up towards the sky, and start to drop the right toes down towards the floor. Nice. Feeling the stretch through the legs. Good. And then keep the right toes where they are. Bring the left toes to your right toes. So a full plow pose, Halasana. Really reaching the hips even higher towards the ceiling. If it feels comfortable to do so here, you can release the hands from the lower back. Press the arms long alongside the floor. Good. Again, as long as you feel that your back is supported, you can release the hands for a moment. Beautiful. And then slowly bring yourself back up towards shoulder stand. So using the hands at the low back again to support, or middle back to support. Deep breath in, pull super long through the legs. And slowly begin to release, rolling down the spine one vertebra at a time. If you have a block underneath you, you can place the feet back on the floor, move the block to the side. Everyone pausing, knees bent, feet flat. Let your spine find itself coming to rest. Good. Then bending the elbows into robot arms, plant the feet hips width apart, so heels close towards your sit bones, but with a little space between them. Press down into the upper arms, press into your feet, rise up into bridge pose, so bringing the heart center nice and high. Good. Dragging back on the heels. Nice. And then again, slowly unwinding, melting through the spine, bringing the heart back to the floor, the hips back to the floor. Extend the legs out straight in front of you. You can keep the arms in robot arms or straighten the arms for fish pose. So if you straighten the arms, you can slide the arms close to your side ribs. Hands can come under your butt if you'd like or not. Take the legs together though, flex or point the feet. So an active leg. And then as you press down into your seat, press down into the arms, arch the heart up towards the sky, pulling through the ribs, lifting the throat long, top of the head just touches the floor. Good. Wide, wide breath, all directions. And then slowly release again, softening through each piece of the spine. Good. My suggestion is to just let yourself come straight into Shavasana, separating the feet, letting the arms release. If you need the final spinal twist, please do take it. But nice sometimes just to let yourself go from where you are and settle. That is our practice, is that wherever it is that you are, you have the capability of finding that quiet place, bringing it to the surface. Letting the lens of the mind, your awareness expand, widen. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. The body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. As you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Drawing the hands together in front of the heart center, maybe visualizing those interlocking triangles. And not just looking in the direction of up and down, but realizing that it extends in all directions simultaneously, equally. That your perception can go in all of those directions simultaneously, equally. As soon as we start looking, letting our awareness expand in that way, right? That's the practice. Everything we do is to cultivate that. And the more we practice, the more that awareness expands. And then even despite our best efforts to stop it, your innate self starts to rise through the thinking mind. That's where we say yoga works. Even if you don't want it to, it will work. But you have to do it. And by doing it, it doesn't just mean breathing or moving or doing whatever the mechanical practice is. It means allowing that lens of the mind to keep expanding, to look where you don't usually look, feel where you don't usually feel. Allow something to be there. And if you do that, the practice becomes your life becomes your practice. And there's no more seeking, because everything that you are, everything that you've ever been looking for is right there. Always has been. And so we just keep doing the things until there's nothing left to do. Let's start. Find that place between the inhale and the exhale. Find where there is that sense of expansion. You feel your mind going wider than what it usually sees. Deep breath in for the sound of Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend, your week until I see you again.